My name is Jen Johnson. I am the research director here at the Becker County Museum, and this is Virginia Weston. She is a museum assistant, and today we are going to talk to you about genealogy. Now, Virginia, you've done genealogy for decades.
That's correct.
What's your best advice on when people come in? That's actually one of the biggest questions we get is where to start.
Basically, you start with yourself and work backwards. You know where you were born. Do you know where your parents were born? Write it down on a piece of paper so you've got the information that you already have that you don't need to look for, and work from there. Work backwards always. Don't go jump, oh, that's a name in my family and it's 20 generations before yours. It's not going to work very well. You need to work methodically backwards from what you know to what you don't know. And everything you find, write it down. Write down where you found it. Book, page, and line number. Which brings me to the book Birth, Marriage, and Death index cards that the museum has here. It already has that information written down for you. If you come in here, you can get that information, take it over to the courthouse, and actually look at the original record. Good place to start. If the person is deceased, an obituary would be a good place to start. We have newspapers on microfilm and hard copies as well. Heart of Lakes Genealogical Society also has scrapbooks with births, deaths, and marriages and other information that are available for people to look at when they come into the museum. None of these materials leave this room. Any other questions you might have, Jen?
How about you? You've told me previously that you started, what did you think it was like?
About 1968 or so, yes.
So where did you start to get your information?
Actually, my dad's sister had done a lot of it for like 50 years before me, and she had written down what she had found, but not where or how she got it. And I am now finding that some of the information she found was incorrect. But to go back and find out what is correct compared to what she found has sometimes proven to be a little difficult. But that's why I advise, write it down where you found it, when you found it, because tomorrow you may find something different that contradicts what you've already found. You need to know who's the best source of the information. Did Grandma know when her child was born? Or did Great Aunt Susie know when her great niece was born? It's a matter of finding the original document if you can. Because even Mom's memory might be wrong when she might get her kids mixed up. You don't know. My sister always claimed she was the wrong child brought home from the hospital. So you need the original records too.
How about organizing? I'm assuming that, you know, just like any research, once you really get into it and you've done it for decades like you have and many other people have come here have, there's just binders and piles. And what's your advice for organizing?
There is a process by which you can do it, but it's not like other places, it's not cut in stone. Whatever works for you comfortably is a good way to begin. You might want to look at genealogy programs, which are out there all over the place. Online even, you can find free versions of genealogy programs that can help you organize what you have for information. But writing it down is the most helpful because it makes it stick in your mind a little bit better than just plugging it into a computer. You might want to get some 3-ring binders and start putting the information in there. There are things called family group sheets and pedigree charts that you can use. You can find those online too and print them for free from home. And that will cement in your mind where you need to look for the next piece of information, which could be a public library like we have here in Detroit Lakes, or the museum here with wonderful school directories and township books and family files. Heart of Lakes Genealogical Society also has some of those kinds of records, but the difference between the two is Museum collects Becker County. Heart of Lakes collects outside of Becker County as well. Surrounding counties, surrounding states. We even have books from places like Maryland and Kentucky that might be helpful to somebody that's just starting out.
So in the research library here, one of the biggest things I've learned since I started working here a little over a year ago was that pretty much everything we have in this library can actually help in the process of looking for a family member.
Yep.
Even our phone books, which is probably one of the biggest surprises I've found, is that we've been able to find where grandparents lived or family businesses or something like that. Yearbooks.
Church directories is another one. Leave no stone unturned. Think of where you are creating records. Your parents, grandparents, and even great-grandparents may have created the same kind of record. But the most common ones would be birth, marriage, and death. Just for a death alone, you can find the official record in the courthouse. You can find an obituary that may give you all kinds of information you didn't know about them. There's a funeral record and a cemetery record. All of them may be slightly different in what they give you for information. Look for all of them. Censuses are another thing that you should look for. The 1940 census is the most recent one that's online. They do not come out until 72 years after they were created, which means the 1950 census won't be available until about 2022. So the museum here has, well, actually it's the Heart of Lakes Genealogical Society, has copies of through 1930 for Becker County and Ottertail County. You're welcome to come in and use the museum's microfilm reader to see if you can find your ancestors on that census film.
So whether you've been researching genealogy for decades or you're just starting, the Becker County Museum Research Library is a good place to start.
Very good place to start. We love this place.